Hello and Jai Hind. Welcome to lecture 8, that is actually part 2 of lecture 8 of criminology live lecture. In lecture 8 we are discussing about victimology, and we have in the part 1 we have already discussed the meaningness of victimology, like what is victimology and who is a victim. Okay, we have discussed various types and classifications of victimology, various types and classifications of victims as per Benjamin Mendelssohn and Hans von Henting. As we have learned in our previous session, that these two names, Benjamin Mendelssohn, who is the father of victimology, and Hans von Hentig, these two names are very important in victimology. Next, in this session, that is part 2 of lecture 8 of criminology live, we will be discussing about victim precipitation theory and onwards. So what is victim precipitation theory? This theory suggests that in some situations a victim's action may unintentionally contribute to the circumstances which leads to offense. Okay, so what is victim precipitation theory? It says that victim's actions may also contribute to the offense, to the circumstances of offense. Okay, like in the escalation, for example, like in the escalation of an violent argument, if an argument turns out violent, argument is not by a single person. Violence may be contributed by a single person, but if some argument comes between two or more person, okay, so to turn argument into violence, it may not be the contribution of a single person. Okay, so in this case, the victim precipitation theory exemplifies that victim's action may unintentionally contribute to the circumstances which may lead to offense. Likewise, in another example, we can think that responding aggressively in a confrontation, if there is one confrontation happening in between two or more parties, if someone goes and trying to respond it, or trying to control it, maybe with a good will, or trying to mediate in it, but in the meantime he gets injured, or he becomes or she becomes a victim, the third party becomes a victim. So in this case also, the victim's actions, the third party's action, unintentionally contribute to the circumstances which leads to the offense. There may be some other example in today's scenario of economic offenses, like the risks of illegal transactions. Let's say that if you are sending someone money through online, and you shouldn't actually send to that account as per law, but you are unaware of it, and you send it due to some urgency or due to ignorance, but by this process of this transaction, through this transaction, you have become a part of an offense, and you may be also required for investigation. It happens in many days that where innocent people also get like called by police or investigation agencies for such transactions, even though they didn't do it intentionally. Okay, so this is what victim precipitation theory. This theory, even though contributes to the victimology, it also has some limitations, like it should never be interpreted as blaming victims or excusing offenders. Victim precipitation theory shouldn't be interpreted as blaming the victim itself, okay, or maybe excusing the offenders. It is not so. Victim precipitation theory should not be so. It is often criticized for its role of being so. The offender remains legally and morally responsible for criminal act. It should be black and white that in a criminal act, the offender, who is the actual offender, he should be legally and morally responsible for the act. That's it. Simple. Now coming to another concept, that is victim facilitation. What is victim facilitation? Victim facilitation occurs when a person's behavior unintentionally makes crime easier. If a person's behavior make the crime easier, like for example, you are like going somewhere just to buy something from a shop, but you keep your door open, you keep your door unlocked. In that situation, the victim itself facilitates a thief or some persons who may come inside and get his valuable stuff out of it, maybe theft or like that. In some situations, in today's time, today's online transaction, sharing banking passwords, even sharing OTPs, that is one-time password in India. These are also examples of victim facilitations. We shouldn't share passwords of our email accounts or any of our digital accounts, including bank accounts definitely, as well as OTP, that is one-time passwords that is sent to our mobiles for verification purposes. We shouldn't share that. If we share that, we will become victim, and as a victim we are facilitating the crime. It will just be like a facilitation of crime and nothing more than that. And next thing is that next example can be posting travel plans publicly on social media. Okay. If we are going somewhere, let's say we are going to Australia, okay, and we in summer vacation. Now it's summer vacation running, and with our kids we are going to Australia for the vacations. But this vacation is personal. We shouldn't announce it publicly in WhatsApp status, in Instagram or Facebook, etc. We are going, this is our personal choice. We are not, it is not important that other knows about it, about our pictures and else. Yes, there's one thing. If you really want to express yourself that you went there, or you have been to such a beautiful place, any places, Australia just an example, yes, you can post it after you come back. You can post this, yes, I had a nice trip to Australia, or I had a nice trip to New Zealand, or maybe Switzerland, or anywhere. Okay, so you can post it after you come back, or after that event or that travel has finished. Okay, so then you can come back and finish, then the impact will be less or almost no impact will be there. Okay, but while being travel or at the beginning of travel, if you are posting, it is like you are inviting someone. It had happened with one of my acquaintances who actually went to Kashmir, to Jammu and Kashmir. Like the incident happened 3-4 years back. They went to Kashmir, and they were so excited with the beauty of Kashmir, with the hills and all there. They just posted every update, okay, on WhatsApp. Like their WhatsApp was full of update, and they been unaware that who are the people who may be looking into their WhatsApp. So what happened, I don't know, some maybe guilty minded people got they knew about it from the updates and all, and suddenly one night their home was robbed. Actually it's not robbed, maybe we can there is a burglary or maybe still stolen. Their CCTV camera was broken, and the hard disks of CCTV also taken away from their home, and all the valuable stuffs, including documents, I repeat, including documents, including land documents, also taken out from their house, and it was a huge loss for them. Okay, and this just happened because of their WhatsApp status. Okay, so this is a very important thing in today's digital age, and this is what we call victim facilitation. And we mustn't ignore these facts, that we mustn't give a chance to offenders to commit crimes. We mustn't ignore a lot more things like basic safety protocols that everyone should know. Also in today's digital age, we shouldn't just ignore cybersecurity protocol. Just simple cybersecurity advices or precautions like just need to change your password like every 3 months, or maybe every 6 months at least, not to keep your password, not to set your password by your default name or by your default date of birth. You should make it as a mix of numbers and letters and maybe of special characters too. So we must follow these cybersecurity precautions, okay, especially when handling specific sensitive accounts like banking accounts, insurance accounts, or other money transaction accounts, including email accounts too, where everyone having their sensitive data. So these are the examples of victim facilitations, which these actions which may increase the opportunity. Okay, but we must remember that this doesn't transfer the responsibility. Okay, even though my friend has updated his picture on WhatsApp, and just for that his home, his valuable stuffs from home got stolen, it doesn't mean that he himself is the offender. No, he is just facilitating. Okay, he's just facilitating the theft unknowingly. Okay, being unaware of, or maybe just by being ignorant. Okay, so he is not the offender. The offender is the thief, or the people who took these valuable stuff from him, from his house. Okay, so victim facilitation, it do not transfer the responsibility from offender to the victim. We mustn't think that by victim facilitation we are just transferring the offense to the victim. No, this is not so. It is just one of the loose ends in the whole circumstances, or in the whole criminal process. The victim facilitation is a loose end or weak point from the victim's end, and nothing more than that. So it doesn't transfer the responsibility of crime. That is what victim facilitation is. Now moving ahead with victim vulnerability. What is victim vulnerability? Here is like certain circumstances which may increase likelihood of victimization. There may be certain circumstances which may, in such circumstances or situations, or even in such environments also, there may be likelihood of being a victim. Okay, this may include like poverty. If you are in a situation of poverty, or you are in a situation of being in need, as we have gone with poverty, as we have studied poverty in our last lecture, that is, there is two types of poverty. One is absolute poverty, that is in the need of basic three things, that is in the need of basic food, clothes, and shelter. This is the basic poverty. And one is relative poverty, that is in need of something which our acquaintances or neighbors got. where most of the people in the society got the basic needs, but we are unable to get it. Okay, in that condition, even though we are out of this or we are above absolute poverty, but we are still in poverty because we are in a state of mind or in a socio-economic conditions that we don't have that basic needs. Like we are not having a simple two-wheeler. Okay, we are still walking around. So one person material, we are relatively poor than our neighbors. Okay, so this is also a state of poverty. So both the types of poverty which may lead to likelihood of victimization. Next is old age. Old age people are more prone to victimization, especially in digital age or in the very age of technology and rush transportation and development. Old age people are less likely to adopt with the new technological world or the trend of technology like internet. AI is too advanced for them. Okay, so they even don't know what is ATP. Just by one ATP, just reading in one message from their phone. Even though old people uses phone, most of the old people's in village areas, let's say if they are 80 plus or so, they are even unaware that just by knowing 6 numbers coming to their phone through SMS, anyone can get his bank account or get her bank account completely empty. His or her bank account will be completely empty just if he or she shares the 6-digit number, that is OTP, one time password. Okay, so all these people are ignorant about it. I mean, they don't know about that because they have lived a life in some different times where technological advancement was not so rapid, and they are presently unable to cope up with the recent development in past 10 or 20 years. So old age people are more vulnerable, and I have just mentioned technological advancements with respect to old age. There may be a age factor to physical, mental and psychological factors also which impacts old age people, and it's give and for them there is more possibility of being victim, or they are more vulnerable to being victim. Next, childhood. Children, like old age people, children are also more prone of being victim because they don't know basic stuffs like whom to trust or whom to not trust. They are unaware of certain situations or places. Okay, so similarly, like old age people, children are more prone to be victim. Next, disability. Disabled people are also in the same way. Social isolation. If some people or if someone lives isolated from the society, he or she may be unaware of what's happening in the society. Okay, if let's say if someone is in this is if someone with old burner phone type phones, he having no televisions or like that, so he is unable to cope up with the trends, with the latest updates of what's going on in this world. Okay, so if he lives in such isolated environment, so he is more prone of being victim. Okay, next is substance abuse. People who abuse substance, they lose control to some extent, and someone may take advantage of that. Okay, next, domestic violence, where like people become psychologically even trapped in domestic violence and unable to just unable to, in certain conditions, domestic violence victims are unable to report even. It often happens, okay? They are just trapped in psychologically confined situations where it has become like psychologically impossible, okay? They are just afraid even to report, okay? So these people are vulnerable to vulnerable of being victims. Even lack of awareness is also there. Unsafe neighbors, if someone's neighbors are unsafe, it's very difficult of being a victim. It not only depends on individuals, but on a lighter note, I don't know, but I think as talking about neighbors, even it depends on countries too, okay? If your neighbors are not good, you are vulnerable, okay? So we in India, we are a great example of that. Next, cyber illiteracy. If people are not literate about basic computer skills or basic knowledge of operations of a smartphone, he or she may be very likely or very much vulnerable to being a victim. Just for an example, let me tell you one thing. One simple example. 2 days back, one of my uncle from the neighborhood, he came to me, okay, just to send one important picture through WhatsApp to his daughter, okay? So he got me my he gave his phone to me, okay, and I just clicked the picture and sent her WhatsApp. But if it were not me, if some other person, I could have checked his phone. He has given his phone to me in trust, okay? So there may be sensitive data in his phone, okay? Since he is giving me to do that task, because he is not literate about that, he doesn't know how to send a photo to someone in WhatsApp. It happens, okay? I'm not saying him ignorant. It happens because he is even 60 plus, okay? He is a retired person, but he is kind of cyber illiterate, or maybe semi-literate person who doesn't know to use smartphone or computers very well. But though I know it, if I try to, yes, I know it, uncle has that much of money in his account, yes, I got his OTP, his passwords, this and that, and from his phone, and I may steal his money from his bank account, or may steal his ID data, okay? So cyber illiteracy in people in today's days is a big problem, which may lead to victim vulnerability. So understanding vulnerability, as we have done with various examples, understanding these examples, understanding vulnerability, it helps in designing preventive strategies and victim support. Like, if we understand about cyber illiteracy, and if we do not go to any stranger or anyone and do not give anyone your smartphone and send anyone for, or ask anyone for any help regarding sending picture or whatsoever, okay? So we must literate such people not to share phone data, not to share phone password, or even most importantly, not to share any numbers coming through SMS, okay? So this is what victim vulnerability. And now we are moving ahead with another theme, that is repeat victimization. So what is repeat victimization? Research shows that some individuals, they become victims repeatedly, okay? There are some individuals, even I know them, who become victims very repeatedly. I'm just giving a simple examples from my neighborhood or from my friend circles, who always become victim. Anything happens, they become victim, okay? Yes, I am saying it in a funny sense, but it happens even in unintentionally too, in some serious instances too, like in some kind of let's say in domestic violence situations where one person becomes victim again and again, even though sometimes he or she reports, even thereafter also he or she become victims until and unless he or he does something big about it. Okay, there may happen frequent cyber attacks or frequent cyber frauds where one person or one institution can be repeatedly victimized. Okay, repeatedly victimized. Okay, repeated theft may happen in some neighborhood. Okay, next is workspace harassment in a persistent way. In some cases, there may be in some offices there can be workspace harassment, but we have we read in news that in certain companies for a certain duration there are more we see more news from that certain company about workspace harassment, because they built a culture, they got some people who got a subculture in that company, which influence which how can I say that, which give rise a which makes a situation of harassment, which normalizes the harassment. Okay, in such a corporate or workspace environment. Okay, so they make a subculture of harassment, either knowingly or unknowingly. So harassment can be like sexual harassment even, and if teasing or like that. So these are the examples of repeat victimization, and preventing repeat victimization requires timely intervention, even counseling, particularly in the case of domestic violence, also improve security and legal protection. So this is what repeat victimization is, and this is what, or this is how we can handle it. Now we are going with another things, that is secondary victimization. What is secondary victimization? Secondary victimization is a very important concept. We are ending part 2 of this lecture with secondary victimization concept. It is that victims suffer not only because of the crime, but because of intensive treatment after the crime. Okay, we have to understand it through examples. Let's say someone is assaulted. Okay, let's say just normally assaulted. A woman is normally assaulted by some individuals in workspace. Okay, so she felt ashamed, but she files a police complaint. While she going or she went to police station, the police asks her over and over again the same question, the repeated questions. Okay, police trying to triangulate her, or even it may be like that police having good intention. Okay, police try to investigate it, but police is not knowing, police is not aware of secondary victimization and asking questions in such a way that she becomes a victim again. She is already a victim. So everyone from police to court to the correctional facility, everyone, we should treat victims so that in a way that there would be no scope of secondary victimization. Okay, in that example of that woman, since she is assaulted in workspace, the police must be very much respectful and cautious while questioning her. Okay, so humiliation in police questioning is one of the very important factors in modern day secondary victimization. Next is delayed victimization. It is also one of the causes of secondary victimization. Public disclosure of identity. By law in India, it is mandated that name of the offenders shouldn't be public. The real name of the offender shouldn't be but it actually doesn't happen in real, and name of the offenders as well as the victim also here we are discussing about victims shouldn't be public, but in reality through media and through society, other means of societal communication, public often disclose identity of the victim. So it give rise to secondary victimization. This is also called media sensitization. Okay, there may be like court delays or social stigma, etc., which may lead to secondary victimization. This is what we have discussed about secondary victimization and modern criminal justice, which aims to reduce such harms through victim sensitive policing and judicial procedures. So I think that's all in the lecture 2. We have learned about various types of victims like secondary victimization, repeat victimization, victim vulnerability, victim facilitation, etc. And in the next lecture, in the next part 3 of this lecture, we will be discussing from victim blaming. Most probably tomorrow or the next day, we will be studying about, we'll be discussing about victim blaming and victim rights. Alright, if you have any questions, you can write in the comment box or even in the email related to criminology and criminal justice systems. So that's all for today, and we'll be discussing in the part 3 of victimology about this. Okay, that's all. Thank you for watching.